Hi friends, I'm Scott Giles, and welcome to Power Talk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to spirituality, hypnocoaching, and the hypnotic arts and sciences generally. If you'd like to know more about my professional work or sign up for my free e-newsletter, Power Lines, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. Today I want to talk about an essential skill for your spiritual and mental health. The ability to learn from your mistakes and misfortunes, or, as I put it somewhat poetically, how to pull wisdom out of your wounds. Bad stuff happens. Plans fail. Bad luck is real. Politics can go against us at work, family, or in social settings, and we get our feelings hurt. There is no one who gets to adulthood without their share of emotional scars and sometimes physical scars too. The thing to get is that misfortunes can have a flip side that is sometimes good. Such things are good because you have an opportunity to learn from them, and that keeps you growing and can keep you effective. The problem isn't that bad things happen. The problem results from what you do about them. Now, you have to make mistakes in order to learn. The human nervous system learns by trial and error. You can never just get everything right all the time. That's just not the way the brain works. You make mistakes to find out what does not work and who you are not, which is the first step to learning what does work and who you are. You make mistakes, you screw up, and so that's good, because now you know what not to do and can close on better ideas and plans for your future. And that's how you pull wisdom out of your wounds. Now, of course, this is way easier said than done. One wag I know said that if he could learn from his mistakes, he'd be a genius by now. And, I get that. And it can seem that way to all of us. However, in my experience, some people think they've made a mistake when they really have not made a mistake. It's just that the situation went pear-shaped because of the activity of other people. These people think they made a mistake because something went wrong. But on analysis, what went wrong happened because of the action of some third person or uncontrollable circumstance. I mean, we can't control the behavior of others. And a lot of things people beat themselves up for really result from something that someone else did or from a situation one cannot control. Now, I might feel bad that a lecture or performance bombed. But I'm only responsible for my part in that. If the problem was that the power failed, or the invitations didn't go out properly, or someone else messed up, well, that's not my mistake, even though people might act as if it were, and that can hurt. When I was a parish minister, that sort of thing would really frost me. As an example, there were certain staff members in the administration that I was prevented by board policy from supervising. Yet, if these employees messed up, I'd find myself criticized during my performance evaluation for their failure, even though I was forbidden to have anything to do with their work. And that was wounding for me. But I got some advice from senior colleagues, and as I pondered this, I realized that there was a lesson that I really needed to learn for my own welfare. I needed to stop getting myself bent into an emotional pretzel about things I could not control. I could not control the behavior of those specific staff members. I could not control the scapegoating behavior of some of the church leaders. Therefore, I had to find a way to live effectively despite that. So I asked myself how I could do the best job possible in a situation that was in fact sort of abusive. Well, once I asked myself that question, I realized that I could protect my feelings from getting hurt by not taking those performance reviews seriously. I pulled some wisdom out of my wound. The way I was being treated still wasn't fair, but it didn't hurt as much because I no longer gave it any emotional validity. And it turned out to be a wisdom that helped me in other situations too. On the advisory board of the National Guild of Hypnotists, I carry the legislation and government concerns portfolio. That means I'm the person who seeks to guide legislation around the country that affects the professional practice of hypnotism. I try my best, but I don't control state governments or legislative committees or the behavior of specific persons who might do things that make situations more difficult. So I came up with a little personal mantra that I'd like to share. It goes, I will do the best I can in the circumstance in which I find myself using the resources available to me. And that's it. If that brings me out in a good place, and it often does, that's great. But if it doesn't, I still did the best I could in the circumstance in which I found myself with the resources I had available. And I can't hold myself responsible to do anything more than that. And this mantra has really helped me over the years. About 2 years ago, my doctors informed me that my medical condition had worsened. I have a syndrome that produces a series of overlapping chronic medical conditions, most of which can be life-threatening. And I was told that, well, one of those conditions had gone to the next level, and I've developed a liver problem. Now, when you get a diagnosis like this, there's a period of time when tests are being done to determine the full scope of the problem. And I got some really bad initial responses from the first round of tests. Now, fortunately, it turned out okay. I've always responded well to treatments, and I did this time too. But there was a few weeks in there when I had to consider that my remaining life might be measured in months, not years. So what to do? Well, my answer was simple. I will do the best I can in the circumstance in which I find myself using the resources available. That helped because I realized it would lead me to the best outcome possible, and it would be silly to demand any other outcome. I will do the best I can in the circumstance in which I find myself using the resources available to me. Well, that's how I pull wisdom out of my wounds, and I recommend it to you. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with a different talk on another subject. I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my work, so please like, share, and subscribe. And if I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through email, my Patreon channel, or website. Have a great week.